Okay guys, I'm bringing you a little something new today. Today I have the Smith & Wesson SD40 again. You may remember on my last video with the extended magazines. Today I put in the Apex AEK polymer trigger kit. It looks a little something like this. I'll show you first that it's unloaded, no magazine in the chamber. And this trigger just feels amazing by comparison. It's just smooth. No springs changed, nothing. Just took the stock trigger out, put that one in. I like this trigger because it's reminiscent of the trigger on a Glock 26. Well, all Glocks actually, but my Glock's a 26. Show you right quick on the Glock. Nothing in the mag well, nothing in the chamber. Fired off in a safe direction. One difference between the Glock and the SD: when you fire the trigger on that, it returns. With the Glock, it stays back at a rest to show you that there's nothing in the chamber and it's safe. I tried to do a full detailed breakdown, installation, and reassembly, but this pin right here, I got stuck on it for like 15 minutes and I didn't want to suffer you to a video that long, so I'll give you the quick rundown. Check it again. Fire it off in a dry fire in a safe direction. Break down as normal. Pull the slide back. Press down the two levers. Sorry, this is kind of hard to do in front of a tripod. There we go. Just take the top slide off altogether. You're going to knock out this pin right here. And that's going to pull out this part right here. You're going to want to take something and wedge it in between the frame and the metal and just give it a little lift, because it's a pretty tight fit. You're going to pull that out. Next, you're going to pop this pin right here out. While you're pointing it downrange, you're going to knock it out from the right side to the left. The pin, you can't see it, is actually notched right about right here, because there's a spring in there, right there. And the pin, the notch, is where that spring rides in. Now after that, you're going to pull this part right here out. Then the slider release is going to come out. The trigger is going to come out. And the trigger bar is going to be attached to the trigger. That will be attached. This will be your trigger when you pull it out right here. And there's just a little groove right there that the bar rides in. There's the pin right there that the bar is attached to. Knock it out once again from right to left. You don't gotta knock it out all the way, just enough to pull the bar out. Make sure that the spring attached to the bar stays in place. Then you can just take this, throw it to the side. I like to put it in the packaging with the aftermarket parts. Seal it up and save it, just in case I ever need it again. Now at that point, you'll have your new trigger running on the trigger bar that you see it actuating. And there's a good shot of the spring. You're going to put the slide release in first, then the trigger and trigger bar directly next to it, lining up all the guide holes with this pin right here. Then you take this big metal piece, drop it on top. Before you drop it in, make sure that little spring is up and underneath it. Then you're going to take your pin, driving it, pointing down range, from left to right, back through the gun, with the notch on the left side. As you're driving it in, what I ended up having to do was I got a guide that I ran through from the right side. A good 1/8 punch is what I used. So it fit nice and snug and everything was lined up perfectly. Making sure that, can I get the spring into focus again? Making sure that spring its loop is through that bar too. Then after you get your everything lined up, 1/8 punch through this way, guide the spring back through this way from left to right, making sure everything locks in place. You'll be able to tell if the slide release is down and the trigger will have tension. Then you take your sear assembly, and as you're dropping it in, pull the trigger back, because there's a good shot of it. This bar on the trigger bar sits inside of the sear assembly right there, which is what pulls the sear back. So you want to lock it back in place again. You just drop the sear back in there, get it nice and snug, run its pin back through, take your full slide assembly, put it back on top, rack it back, do a function test, push it from the top where you're not actuating the safety, make sure that it won't engage, all while the mag is unloaded, of course. Then you pull the trigger, make sure that it clicks, let it go, rack it again. This time don't let go of the trigger, rack it, pull forward, and I don't know if you can hear that, but that's where you hear the reset. You want to make sure you hear the reset, then you can let it go and go for it again. Last thing you want to check, pull the slide back, make sure that the slide release still engages. And that's all I have for you today. I'll give you a sneak preview of what's up next. Let me run over here and grab it. Next on the list, I have a stock for a 995 Classic. I'm going to trick this out, and I'm going to come back to you, show you what I did. But quick shout out, I can't pronounce his name, but I'll make sure I put it in the description. I'll put the link in the description. Makes these amazing oversized mag release buttons. Super cheap. I actually got the button and the spare stock from for my project. And it's high quality. I've already thrown the upper on there and tried it out before I do any modification to make sure it runs right. Until next time, guys, stay safe.